Matthew 23 and Luke 20 and 21. Well, it's quite stunning and really unexpected when you think about it that the Messiah's life would end, literally within a couple of days from now, with him having a shouting match with the religious leaders of Israel. And I'm sure it was a shouting match back and forth. I can't imagine they just stood there and took it. But Jesus is very angry. What is he angry about? Well, let's review the story of the Bible. I think this is just frankly what he's restating here. People that claim to love Yahweh were not. Instead, they were sons of the devil. They were following the gods that were never meant to be worshipped in the Bible, but were given to other nations. So remember the story as we've heard it. In 722 BC, Assyria conquered the northern territories, the 10 tribes of the north. In 586, Babylon destroyed the southern kingdom, Judah, and took them into exile. Well, here we are in AD 30, and I'd recommend that things have not changed at all. Just a previous chapter, we heard in Matthew 22:37, what is the greatest commandment, Jesus is asked. And he quotes Deuteronomy 6:5, which is, love Yahweh with all your heart, soul, and mind. In other words, give him everything you have as opposed to any other deity. Deuteronomy 6:14, just several verses away, you shall not go after other gods. So the opposite of this is this. It's not loving God with a little less than all you have. It's simply turning that love to someone else. So this is the storyline that Jesus is so angry about. And of course, what he did in his lifetime, in his ministry, is exemplify what it means to be completely loyal to Yahweh. What the opposite then of Matthew 23, or what Jesus is saying in Matthew 23, is that this kind of language that says we love Yahweh, but it's punctuated by clear worship of other gods in that sense, and words that sound good, but hearts that are far from God. That's what Jesus is upset about. And of course, the way that love shows to God would be, as Jesus has shown, would be a kind of love that works on those who can't return anything for it. You rush to serve, to help, to give to others. This kind of love will always show itself in how you treat others instead of notoriety and looking for human praise, as these men do. Jesus did just the opposite. 23:11, but he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. Reteaching really Matthew 5 through 7, the Sermon on the Mount. We've really come full circle in the story of Jesus' ministry by listening to Matthew 23. Well, let's talk about the resurrection. This is in Luke 20, beginning in verse 27. It's similarly in a kind of an antagonistic setting. Now we're switching out the Pharisees for the Sadducees. They are a group of religious liberals of the time, Jewish liberals, who did not believe in resurrection. They believe that you die simply as an animal. And Jesus is quite clear in his argument that the resurrection is important because, well, of course, first of all, procreation in the next world is unnecessary since we don't die, so we don't have marriage and we don't have children and that sort of thing. But more importantly, what will happen is, and he uses this phrase only in Luke, you will become equal to angeloi. Now remember, and you'll have to look at other videos for this, there is no such thing as angels in the Bible. There are angeloi. That word has been transliterated into a term that really has no meaning to the Bible. Angeloi are the gods of the Old Testament, and there's much we could do with that. So the point is that when you resurrect this person, let's say, when they resurrect, they will be equal to the gods. In other words, the divine world that we've talked about again so often, Jesus is trying to tell those who are listening that the resurrected person will become equal to a divine being in some way. Fantastic promise that we really don't know how to put our minds around, of course. 2 Peter 1:4, Peter will later say, we will be partakers of theos. It's very clear. We will be partakers of this world in some real way. Well, I want to end with the story of the widow's mite in Luke 21. And I want to bring a bit of solemnity to it because Sometimes that story where the woman puts in her 2 mites is implied to mean something that frankly is not in the story. And what I mean by that is this, that the story of the woman putting in her livelihood into the temple treasury is sometimes told when the offering plate is being passed, and the impression given to the audience is that they need to do what the woman is doing here, and that is give everything she has. But notice the context of this woman's story. She, out of her poverty, has put in all the livelihood that she has. That follows right after 20, verse 46 and 7. Beware of the scribes, for they, Jesus says, and their kind devour widows' houses. These will receive greater condemnation. So maybe this story is not about the virtue of giving, which of course I don't deny, but it's more about the horror of what religious legalism can do to the innocent person.